Hola movie lovers. Welcome to the channel and let's rewatch movie. A serious spoilers ahead, and if you've not subscribed kindly do to support our term.
In the first scenes we are introduced to a man named Virgil, and a woman with her baby as the train moves through the desert. Judging from his physical look you can tell he has had it rough in the past years. On the way he gets out of the train after he arrives at his destination, he walks to a local shop and finds a man named Sobek busy watching the news on TV. He tries to call him a couple times, but Sobek keeps ignoring him. In a few seconds he asks for a toilet, and that's when the man directs him with his fingers with a terrible foreign language. In a few scenes as he goes to the toilet to help himself, a voice from outside asks if he is the one supposed to be taken to the company. He at once replies and gets out. As he tries to refresh himself with water he gets warned to stop wasting water, as they're in the desert, and it's harder to access water. In the next scenes we see a man called Keith driving Virgil to a location. In the way in the middle of nowhere the car tire gets damaged, and they have to stop and solve the tire issue. As they're stuck in the few scenes they notice a wild dogs fighting. Keith walks and chases the powerful dog away, and kills the one that is injured as he notices it won't survive. They manage to fix the car and continue to their journey. In the following scenes they decide to rest as well for the car to cool down the engine. They make fire as they're resting to keep the animals away. As they talk Keith asks Virgil why is he running from his own town heading to compound. Virgil replies he is going for not a short period of time, and he notices there might be more opportunities than his hometown. Sobek tells him the life at the compound is not as easy as he thinks. He also explains to him all the work offered at the compound are hard to accomplish. Regardless of how he starts to explain it to Virgil, he replies he is used to working hard, and that is not what is going to stop his journey to the compound. In the morning they continue driving through the desert. Due to long drive hours Keith sleeps off and lets Virgil drive. In a few miles Virgil switches on the car AC, which he was told not to do from day one cause then the car engine will just run out. Immediately the car starts acting. A few miles, Keith starts yelling and getting upset at Virgil as he had clearly told him not to put the AC on. In the next scenes Virgil apologizes, and they start looking away to solve the car problem. In the process Virgil goes to urinate around the desert and notices some stones gathered a bit far from him. He can't stop himself, so he walks to take a closer look. As he gets to the stones, he notices a different stone among which gives him gaspers, and calls his friend to come take a close look on what exactly it is. As Keith arrives he notices it might be gold, but the only way to find out is by burning it. If it turns black then it's just a stone. If it remains with its color, that when they will know they've made a great discovery. As they burn the stone it remains with its clear one gets them very excited, as they have found themselves gold in the middle of the desert. They start digging it out of the ground, but later finds it's bigger than it looked. A few hours on it without even managing to shake it. They tie it to the truck and rope keeps on failing a couple times. At the end of the day, they discover sonar it getting dark, and they can't just leave the piece of gold. Keith leaves Virgil digging, and goes to get some firewood to help them in the dark. At night as they rest from the digging, they all start talking about their future. As of now they're billionaires due to the piece of gold they've just discovered. To be able to get the gold off the ground they both discover one of them will have to go to the east to get a better truck to help them dig the gold, as with bare hands they see no victory. They start arguing on who should go, and who should stay to protect the gold. At the end Keith knows east more than Virgil, and so he is the ones to go look for the truck as he leaves Virgil behind protecting their piece of gold. As well the journey to the east might not be as easy as it seems, as it will take 5 days for him to go and return, and that is if everything goes as planned. In the morning they divide the little water they have as well. Keith gives a satellite phone to Virgil to communicate while he's gone for the 5 days. As Keith drives away Virgil starts making himself comfortable in the desert. Later he is seen after he has made a tent, testing the satellite phone to see if it works. In the next scenes as he returns from getting firewood he notices a scorpion walking through his stuffs, which freaks him a bit, but later he manages to send it away. At night as he is trying to eat something he starts hearing sounds of wild animals, and gets horrified. In the next morning as he walks up, he notices he is getting weak, as they say, the desert feeding on him. As he tries to wash his face he remembers he has no much water left. Same time the satellite phone rings. As he walks to answer it he finds a missed call. At the moment he has nothing left to do apart from holding on too tight till his friend returns, and that's when they can both leave the desert. As he returns from fetching firewood he notices a change on the stones around the gold. As he walks around the desert in the following scenes he notices a plane that just fall on the ground very badly but sees no one around. He removes the pieces of the plane which later using to keep himself away from the sun as well warm. Due to the heat in the desert his face is badly getting burnt from now and then, and he keeps on getting weaker. He walks to the gold where he gets an idea of cutting the gold and takes a small piece that he can handle. As he tries to break the gold in a few hours he manages and grabs the piece of gold and starts walking away. Before he gathers further the phone rings and gets to be convinced by Keith to stay with the god in the desert as he is trying his best to return. At night Virgil gets attacked by a bunch of animals which he luckily scares away fire. In few hours a rattle desert snake attacks him. As he fights back the snake runs away, and as notices, he just poured his only water on the ground left with very little. In the next scenes Virgil walks to the plain where a woman named Susie is seen bit far walking towards him. Virgil starts panicking and hides himself into the plain with his piece of gold he had managed to break earlier. The woman walks to him offering him food, but Virgil tries avoiding him in order to protect his gold. As he gathers more pieces from the plane the woman asks him where he's taking them, but she keeps on getting ignored. Later she starts walking heading to where the gold is which makes Virgil to try stop her, but the Susie is fearless. She continues. Virgil begs her to take the plane, but leave him alone, but the woman seems not to understand why he's trying to avoid her. As they argue the woman continues walking and eventually makes it to Virgil's tent where she notices Virgil is hiding something but she can't tell what it is at the moment. As she gets distracted Virgil manages to hit her on the head and kills her. He takes all her belongings and later buries her. In few days he notices the wild dog digging Susie's body from the ground. He manages to chase the dog away and takes the body a bit far where he burns it with so much regret in his heart. The next morning he gets a call from his friend Keith and gets told he is on his way back. But the track he has gone to find is heavy, and it's slowing him down. He also gets informed Keith won't be able to make it in time as he needs more days to arrive. As Virgil tries to talk back Keith notices his voice is dry which indicates Virgil has no clean water to drink. In the next scenes things gets worse as a storm happens taking Virgil's tent away. As he tries to run in the middle of the storm, he gets hit by a tree and passes out. The next morning as he walks up, he finds a piece of a tree stuck in his stomach as well feeling so much pain. He manages to locate it where his tent was all her things taken by the storm apart from the piece of gold he had with him. Too much pain in his stomach due to the stick stuck in his stomach. He manages to pull himself to the gold which they had found and finds it still there, but covered with sand. He then tries removing the stick from his stomach which caused his to bleed so much. He tries to heal his wound by using fire and burning it which he successfully achieve after bunch of pain. He then passes out as he wakes up and sees a woman that is identical to Susie who he killed and burnt a few days ago. A woman feeds him with water, but after she disappears, as he starts to aversion things he gets a call from his friend Keith. After the call the woman finds him, and still as Susie did before she asks him if she is hungry. As she is offering him help Virgil screams at her sending her away. Before the woman walks away she asks if she had seen her sister whom they look like, but Virgil asks her to leave him alone. In the next scenes Virgil walks up and finds himself surrounded by wild dogs. He calls Keith and tells him to hurry as he might not make it through the night. After the call we see Keith from a distance calmly watching Virgil as he gets killed by the dogs. The film is gold. At the end Keith with his track walk to get the gold. As he walks to the track to pick an object he gets killed by an arrow, and he dies in seconds. We see a woman standing on top of the hill with an arrow.
And here the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to grow closer to us.